Welcome to PDR Tool Time. We want to take a moment to thank our sponsors that bring this great content to your listening ears week after week. B&D Tools, innovative PDR accessories for PDR professionals.
Edgy Tools, the king of PDR accessories that get the job done.
CBDdirectoils.com. It's not marijuana, kids. It's perfectly legal relief for all your aches and pains.
Welcome to another episode of PDR Tool Time. We've got a great show for you guys tonight. And I am Daniel Grom with your hosts, Vince D'Alessandro and John Renstrom. How are you guys?
Fantastic.
Going crazy.
John.
It has been a busy week, huh?
It's been. I haven't stopped since Vegas. You guys are having shows about Vegas and everything that happened. I still haven't even processed. I've been nonstop running the whole time.
Well, geez, we haven't really talked to you all that much the last couple of weeks either.
No, I haven't been able to do the podcasts or anything. So it's good to be back.
We got a great show. We're going to talk about some of the new tools from Ultra. We're also going to talk about John took a little road trip and had some interesting tales to tell about crash tests. And then Vince is going to talk about what are you going to talk about, Vince?
Oh, a couple shows that are coming up where I will be featuring the IMI EV hybrid certification classes that are coming up. So those are coming up right around the corner. So we'll mention those.
The whole world is completely ignorant on that I've learned.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
and we're going to talk about Branson.
Yeah, we'll
World Cup.
Not too much. We'll have Adam on in the next week or two, and we'll have him come on and tell us what we could expect from PDR World Cup, because I think they're starting to gain some ground and having some technicians coming, and the good show is to be had out there too.
Good deal. Right. Good deal.
Yeah.
So super excited. How was your week?
It was good. The business is up for sale now for about a week. And
any takers? Any lookers? Tire kickers?
We got some tire kickers already. So I've had a couple technicians come into the shop locally, and I've had the broker. The couple of people companies have reached out to my broker too. So I can't complain because it's only been a week. So we'll see what happens. Right?
Nice.
Yeah. This is
a
new adventure for me.
There's got to be some guy in Minnesota that wants to get out of the snow and go to California.
You think that's the angle, huh?
I would. If I was in Minnesota.
I don't know. I think if I was a local PDR guy in Southern California, I think that's the ideal candidate. Someone that's tired of working wholesale and running around doing retail and dealing with traffic. What about some of our
Canadian friends up there? What if they bought your thing? Can you set them up with an American wife and get them married so you can be a citizen?
Actually, they don't need to do that. If they want to come here, all you have to spend is like $250,000 and on a business. And
is that right?
Yeah, it's a certain type of visa. You buy into a business here, and boom, you're automatically an American citizen. America citizen.
Is that right?
You know what? We do have a big international audience. Any of you English boys or Australians that are listening, and I know you're listening because I see it on the analytics. You guys want to come to California and live here.
Dude,
time to buy in.
I'll tell you, I've been down to Vince's place. I mean, he's freaking, you can see the beach. I mean, it's beautiful, and there's gorgeous women walking everywhere. I mean, it's pretty much heaven.
Yeah.
And it's like 70 degrees pretty much every day.
Yeah.
Actually hotter than that, but it's consistent weather all year round.
It is.
You don't have
Now, how far are you from the beach?
I am just north of Newport Beach, so I'm probably a 20-minute drive from my shop to the beach. Yeah. But I'm in like the prime location where you have Newport Beach, Costa Mesa, Irvine, Santa Ana, and Tustin. I'm right in the corner of like 5 very affluent towns. Now, Santa Ana is not too affluent, but where I am in Santa Ana is more of an affluent area. And it's prime spot. I'm happy I got that spot 6 years ago, and it's just growing. They're popping up these condos. There's going to be over a course of 3 years, there's going to be 40,000 new residents a half a mile away from my shop.
Oh wow, that's a lot of drive-by.
That's no, not so much drive-by because I am in kind of off the boulevard.
Okay.
But just close enough.
Yeah.
But there's a dispensary across the street, so there's that.
There's 2 dispensaries on my street.
Really?
Wow. Holy cow.
And guess what? I've got one moving next door to me too.
Oh, do you? Well,
Yeah.
oddly enough, I don't buy my CBD oil from them. I buy them from CBD Direct.
Of course.
And especially right now because they have a 25% off discount.
Is there a code for that?
There is. It's PDRTT. We'll give you 25% off through this month of October.
Cha-ching.
Cha-ching.
Sweet.
So,
Dang it.
but,
I'm gonna have to get on there and order some more then.
yeah, you know why? Because there's so many CBD oils out there, and it's kind of like the vape too. You don't go to a gas station buy vape, or you don't go to a gas station buy CBD oil.
Not these
Or
days, man.
sushi.
You're putting people in the hospital.
Exactly.
Yeah, no doubt. Holy cow.
You know, I've been vaping for 6 years, and I would never ever buy something that I don't know where it's made. You know.
Yeah.
So
Well, I guess it's some kind of fungicide that's in the vape that's hurting people.
well, it's not only that, but it's found in the THC. And that's the majority, the common link with the majority of the people that have died and the sickness is they vape THC.
Huh.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
Good
But-
grief.
we're talking tools here. We're talking PDR.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's
so,
talk
all right.
tools.
What have you got new? I haven't talked to you guys since the show, so I missed all the show talk. But what have you acquired new since the last show talk?
Well, I kind of wanted to highlight Ultra because Ultra showed up big at MT this year.
Yeah,
they
they
had
did.
a full booth. They really organized it well. It was kind of an octagon shape, and they had order stations on every corner. So they had like 4 people picking orders. So they had nobody waiting. I mean, really well organized. And they had a center pamphlet to go into their catalog with all their new stuff. And they got a ton of new stuff. One of the things that I'm really excited about. So my extra wide handle that I had for the motorcycle tanks, they finally put it on menu.
Yes. My Paul that hangs out at my shop, he bought one. He brought it over to the shop the other day. I'm like, oh, thank you.
So that you guys can go to their website. It's A96FMDH.
No one's going to write that down, Daniel. Come on.
I'll put it in the show notes.
Oh, okay.
So, there you go. But
Oh my.
if you want to write it down right now, do that. So you can finally buy that handle. I mean, it's funny. Everybody laughed at me with that, and now big handles are all the rage.
Well, it's the year of the handle, so it makes sense that they've released that out to the us wild and crazy guys.
And then they got Mike Toledo's favorite handle, the Lightsaber handle, which is their aluminum knurl handle that they have.
Yeah.
But it's an inline handle for like a pick.
Oh, right.
And with a quick release. And he calls it looks like a lightsaber. He calls it the Lightsaber. He was showing me that today. I called him up today, and he was at Ultra, and he goes, "How did you know I was here?"
Yeah.
And I go, I got a tracker on you, man. So that's the A96 IQ. If you guys are looking for that one. And then he was showing me off. He's got these offset whale tail handles, and they're kind of they're a pistol grip, but it's kind of a stair step whale tail for you hail guys. Those are really nice. They have a few different diameter heads on those. They have 3 different ones that you guys can choose from. They have the Don Gray 3-piece ring hook clamps. And I don't know have you guys seen these?
You're rolling through that catalog faster than their website will change pages.
Yeah.
I haven't, but I know Peter from VIP has a 3-ring type of apparatus.
So they've got 2 of these, and basically what they are is they kind of slide underneath a brace. So you don't need a hole. And that's the unique thing about it. And then you can twist them and lock them. And then they have 3 rings welded to them. So it's something that's different and unique out there that nobody else really has, that you can hang a hanger right on to the edge of a brace, which is kind of cool.
That is cool. That. Yeah. Because you know what? Sometimes having like a gutter hook or the hooks that you put on the panel, I never like using those, because when you put them on the panel, you put too much pressure. Next thing you know, you're making a dent in the panel.
Yeah.
So I've always kind of stayed away from those. I've had zero luck. If I can't find a hole, I'm screwed. I use direct pressure if that's the case. So one thing that I've really been happy with, I went on the Kiko website and I bought some things, and yes, I bought them. I did not get them for free. I bought the covers, the silicone covers for my Glexo. Man,
me too.
I'm so happy I did that.
Right? Yeah.
I need to get those.
Kudos.
Glexo is
Do you have Glexo?
Yeah, I got it at the show, and I was stupid for not getting that sooner.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I had a charger at the shop yesterday that a garage door came down and hit the back of the roof right in front of the rear window. And it was a crease about a mile long, and it was soft. And fortunately, he had a wrap on it. So it was a bumblebee one or whatever. So
yeah,
whatever they call it. So I pulled the wrap off, and which I charged in Mobiletech RX as an upcharge. And I removed that. I charged an hour labor, and I had a clean surface, and I Glexoed about 80% of that dent out, and I never had to drop to the headliner. I glue pulled the whole crease it was actually about 18 inches long, and all of it was done with Glexo and with tabs the whole time.
Yeah.
Now, did you buy the whole kit with their new plastic tabs for the cold glue?
John?
No,
Vince.
I just got the big kit. I didn't want the little kit, so I got the full big kit. And I always thought, as a hail guy, cold glue works for the non-hail dents. Well, man, it was slaying on the rails. Like we were doing, I was giving Jesse a hand right afterwards to try out the balloon tips and the Glexo. And you do them big, gnarly, sharp, nasty rail dents where you pull them up, and you have to pull them so high that it actually creates a low spot on each side.
Yeah.
And then you normally have to spin, like 5 or 6 glue pulls on each of those lows. Well, the Glexo turns each of those low spots into a single hit. Just bang up, grab the blending hammer, flatten it off, especially the Cryocarb tip.
The Cryocarb.
Threw that on the end of my blending hammer and was blending those off. It went from being 20 minutes to finish out those double bad spots on a really bad rail to like 5.
Now, let me ask you this, because I know that a lot of guys are putting Glexo on regular tabs now for smaller dents and not using the steel tabs that it comes with. Have you tried that on hail damage?
I haven't, but maybe I'll be able to try that. I'll try it. I'll be back over there possibly next week. So I might give it a try. I'm experimenting with it because I've found that, man, you could do some crazy stuff. So.
And just like when you're glue pulling, you want to kind of do the prep process the same way. You want to clean the panel really good, heat up the panel. You want to get both the glue and the panel warm. Probably, what do you think? Probably 80 degrees or something like that.
I get it warm to touch, definitely.
Warm to touch is good. Yeah.
Okay.
There's some other tricks with it too.
I'm still learning.
There's some. What do you call it? Barry McTarcy, the creator of the Doodah, he hit me up with a whole bunch of secrets about using cold glue. Heat up the glue on the tab. Also, you don't want any creases or lines or anything on that glue when you're using it. When you start to pull it, smooth it out so it's completely smooth, so there's no air pockets or anything in it at all. And what they do is, if you have a deeper dent, they actually, like an ice cream cone, they smooth it up to a point. So they smooth it and make a mountain out of it, right?
Okay.
And so when you push in there, you're pushing out all the air, and everything is coming out of the creases, everything. You don't want any creases, no air pockets, no air bubbles.
Because you're basically creating a bond, a suction bond.
Yeah. And like it's incredible. He didn't show me using it on regular tabs, but he showed me using it on the Glexo tabs. And combined with, you have to have a really heavy slide hammer too. That makes
it does help.
It makes the difference. And the new one that I got the one from New Zealand, which is about a 7-pound hammer with a interchangeable tip on the front, which is quick release back and forth to pass through or standard. And dude, I'm telling you, I'm fixing monstrous dents with that stuff, with that heavy slide hammer. It's going to be eventually released here in the States, but I know I'm supposed to pass it up to Daniel and down to John and down to Mike down in San Diego.
Did you take that from Mike? Because they gave it to Mike, and did you steal it from him?
I didn't steal it from him. It went from Mike's hand to my hand, and I said, I'll get it to you sometime soon.
Good for you.
Man, I tell you what, though, doing the ones that I did, I made this mistake of putting it on. I mean, those are great tips to really get it stick hard and probably doing some ripped up stuff. But, man, I found I had to be careful. It stuck so hard. I couldn't get aggressive and mash it onto the panel and hit on oh man, because I wasn't sure what I could use to get it to release. And I knew I was just I'm like, I did that. Jesse's like, oh dude, too hard. And I'm like, I am so screwed. I'm gonna be tapping this down forever. And I did. I made a killer high.
And I'm wondering what it will do with smaller tabs though, John. Because if you have a smaller tab, you might have a little bit more control over a smaller dent.
I'll give it a try. I was doing all the pancakers
right
with it, and because it just moves them so fast. We did the first time Jesse showed it to me was on a dually box side, and if you've done any of the new steel dually box sides, they're an absolute nightmare, especially on the Dodges, not Dodges, but on the Rams. They have that Kevlar pad underneath them.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah, exactly. So when you push out the hail dent, you're left with this stupid pancake from that Kevlar dent. Well, man, you just hit it with that Glexo, gone instantly. Huh? Yeah. I mean, and it has you moving right down that panel like nothing.
And it's not floppy. It's not like temporarily gone.
No.
Like if you touch it, it's not going to collapse.
Yeah, exactly. It's done. You're tapping back the highs with the blending hammer, and you've got a flat panel way faster than trying to sit there with the glue tabs. Because it's when you get down on the front of that roll, it's almost, I'm short. So it's impossible for me to stand high enough on a bench with a long enough dent rod to be able to push that dent out. I'm stuck glue pulling that very front of that dually fender.
Right.
And this just allowed just a fast move through. I mean, I probably shaved 2/3 of my time off of doing that area.
That's awesome. Now, the other thing that you just glanced over was that Cryocarb. How do you say it? Cryo?
I'm not sure. Cryo? Yeah, Cryo. I don't know.
Cryocarb.
What are you talking about?
The blending tip.
The leather blending tip.
The leather blending tip that he used to just make a knockdown.
Yeah,
but it's not. It's now in a screwable tip form now that you can put it on your blending hammer or wherever else you want to put it with the leather tip. Yeah. I'm really impressed with that. I mean, I do like my titanium tip, but definitely on smaller or softer crowns, that leather tip tool is fantastic.
It works nice.
It does.
Yeah, very, very precise, very quiet.
Quiet, yes.
But the other thing, like, okay, let's look at your Craftsman hammer.
Yeah,
both those tips. That can wear out. It can get misshapen. It can get stuff stuck in it. The leather one, it stays clean. It pretty much stays the same. It's kind of more resilient, if you will.
Right.
It could be.
So you get more consistency out of it over a long period of time.
Yeah.
Well,
it could be. I've been liking
it. If I had to compare it, it would be like the red side of a Craftsman hammer. But I've been using the red side of my Craftsman hammer for 15 years, and it hasn't worn out. So it's it's seasoned.
But it's funny is so going back to that slide hammer. Should we kind of talk about that a little bit, or can we?
Yeah. I'm curious.
Okay, so this guy came up to us from Australia, and he had this
New Zealand. New Zealand.
Sorry,
don't mix them up.
Yeah, I don't want to mix that. I don't want to offend anybody. So he's from New Zealand, and the slide hammer was really well made, right?
Yeah, and
it had a unique tip on it that rotated, and so it was a closed end, and then you rotated to the other side, and it was an open end. And really well designed, really well made, but it was really heavy. And he started talking about how much better that heaviness works on the cold glue. So that got me thinking. And I have a really nice Morgan slide hammer, body shop hammer. It's like an 8-pounder.
Does it have the knockers on it?
It doesn't have I don't have that one. I need to get that one. I want to get the Morgan knockers. It's shaped like a woman's body and has boobies on it. So I started using that with the Cam Auto. Cam Auto has these red tabs, but they have these eye hooks on them. And so this week I started using that big slide hammer because it has a hook on it, and I can wrap it around that eye, and oh my God, I was pulling some nasty stuff right on body lines.
Yeah, I don't see how it is that those tabs stick so hard straight out of the box.
Man, they are good. I don't know what plastic that is or what, but they are friggin' good.
Yep.
And his gray tabs, I've been using those for a long time. I love them. Absolutely love them. They're kind of a weird shape, and they have wings on them, and they pretty much fit anywhere.
Nope. Daniel's getting bit.
I didn't even know he delivered mail part-time. But one thing to mention on those tips coming out of there, that kit is more designed for the larger damage. It's not like your hail dents, anything like that. So that's why it's got those eyelets for it's kind of designed for more structural pulling than like normal simple lightweight hail dents.
That's why I haven't bought the Cam Auto, because I don't take a bumper off, and I don't pull out a quarter panel that meets the bumper like that. You know, that I don't, and maybe I'm wrong. Daniel, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's very selective as to where you could use the Cam Auto stuff for what we're doing, right?
Right now, it's only going to work with that prototype tool that you have right now, the hustle stick.
Yeah, and it's one of the things about that Cam Auto is you have a bit more directional, whereas like Kiko is a bit more straight on. Cam Auto you can pull at a bit more forward and back, and how that works. And this is what we used to do in the body shop years ago before intrusion beams. So do keep that in mind. We used to take a couple of Mo clamps, which are the big bolt-on clamps, and we would take like a door, say off a 60s Impala, and we'd put a clamp on both ends of that where the whole center of the door was caved in. We'd put it between the frame rack towers. And then you stretch that door and you put that little bit of tension back on it. Then you pop out the dent. And, I'd say pop it out, but ultimately you're putting it at the 2 pressure points on the top and the bottom ends of that dent. And you basically pull into those 2 areas, and the whole center of that dent comes out. And by having that tension and stretching that panel back, it helps to relieve that center. And it stops that, that mistake we've all done on a giant dent, and you stick the glue tab dead in the center and pull it out, and then you just lock like 4 tight little bottoms on all the corners. Well, by putting that tension, and Cam Auto now does that in glue, man. I fell in love with it the very first time I ever saw it, because it took me back to putting I think the first time I did that was on a mid-70s Buick. Somebody backed in and caved in the whole door, and we stretched that door back out and pretty much metal finished it. So,
yeah, the Cam Auto, for me, the way I'm using it is just bringing out the meat of a dent, and it just holds on way better than any other tab. I just haven't found a tab that is as good as these things are. I mean, And I'm just using my regular hot glue. I'm not using their glue.
Yep.
Their glue, it takes too long to set up, and
Yep.
it's actually too good almost.
Well, there might be another glue coming out pretty soon just for that doesn't take as long.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
There's a company out there that makes glues for our industry that's working on something that's a little bit more PDR friendly, but pulls just the same.
Cool.
Oh, interesting.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So moving on, some of the other things. So how about let's talk about the glue gun that Anson came out with.
Have either of you got to play with that yet?
Yes. Oh my God. I'm loving that thing.
Which one? The trifecta?
Anson's
The trifecta. Okay, guys, if you're looking for a new glue gun, it's friggin' amazing.
You got one. Dave Shalott got one. I didn't even get one. And I work for Anson.
So you can't even contribute.
I
Okay.
can't.
So this thing, what's cool about it has inserts that you can put into it depending on what battery you want to use. So it's set up for Ryobi.
Tell me you didn't get the Makita insert, did you?
Sure.
Oh, you bastard, man. Killing me. I won't even get one till these. By the way, these are not coming out till MTE
they're
Orlando.
not.
Oh, okay. So this is like,
so you guys are just getting to brag about
inside
it.
baseball.
Yeah.
Yes.
So okay, when you get to MTE, get in line, buy one. It's just a great glue gun. It's kind of a workhorse. And then it has inserts that you can pop into depending on what battery you want to use. So, let's say you have two batteries. Like I recently bought some Milwaukee stuff, and I have Milwaukee buffer, and Milwaukee just came out with a 9-amp battery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it's going to last 2 days.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
right.
that's
I mean,
huge.
you can put that 9-amp battery on there. Oh my God.
That's
It'd
probably
go
all
forever.
day on high then.
Yeah. Oh, at least.
Well, now let me give you some history behind this glue gun so everyone knows where it's coming from. Why is it called the trifecta?
Go ahead, tell us.
3 companies went in on this. Okay.
Okay.
So it's made by Tech, and for Tech to make something, which is a great glue gun, and they're known for their glue guns. A lot of people use them. They had to come up with a crap ton of money to make something specific for our industry. So 3 companies contributed to the trifecta. We have James Lee from Illumident, we have Anson PDR, and we have TDN. So those 3 companies combined made the ultimate glue gun.
Huh.
Yeah.
So
And
there you go.
Nice.
It's really well made. Like I said, I started using it right away, and I don't even want to look back at any other glue gun. Really, it's that good. That good.
Wow. All right. I'll have to lick one of them at Orlando just so I can say I've had the pleasure of touching it.
Yeah, you know what? Now that I think of it, I think Daniel stole mine, bastard.
No, Craig gave me that. I didn't steal it.
It was intended for me.
Craig gave it to me.
He said,
handed
"Give
it
this
me.
to
He goes,
Vince."
Here.
With the words, pass this on to Vince.
I think he said some expletives about you and said screw you, or something like that. I guess you pissed him off or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always doing bad things to Craig.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Little
All
inside
right.
joke.
So we can't post up anything on that.
The trifecta, but
that
keep a lookout for
trifecta
it.
glue gun. So.
Yeah, this is a preview. You guys got inside baseball info.
Actually, I think it's called the Trident. It's called the Trident.
Now there's
the
some there's a tool that I've been seeing passing around, and I put that for you to put in the show notes. That's this bolt-on handle extension for the Ultra tools.
Yeah.
I didn't get it. Have you guys played with that? I've been seeing guys post that on Facebook.
Actually, when I did the call with Mike today, he was there and he pulled that out. And it's basically a flat aluminum bar that it's honestly, it's just like the AHA from Don Kavanaugh, just
Okay.
not as nicely shaped.
Ah.
It's just basically a flat bar with the X grip on it.
So
and-
which one do I keep seeing posted all over Facebook?
The AHA. Or no, well, Kiko has come up with the ergonomically correct one too that you might be seeing all over Facebook. But that's in prototype form, and that's a giant
it wasn't
paddle.
the Kiko. No, it's the Ultra one that you're seeing.
No, I don't think so. I think it's Don Kavanaugh. I've yet to see that. I just clicked on that. That's the first time I've seen that.
Yeah, lately I haven't been able to do much concentration. I just keep an eye on all of our the mobile tech stuff and kind of catch a little bit of the highlights. So I've been
this basic handle is only going to work on Ultra's handles, where the AHA is designed to work on multiple handles. So it's a little bit more universal.
Well, all right, let me see if we can. Who's selling the AHA?
That is
our boy.
Endeavor,
right? Yes.
Okay.
Endeavor.
Chad.
All right.
Chad Peters.
Yes.
All right. I'll bring that up and make sure that
honestly,
we put that in the.
Stop talking on us, Daniel.
Sorry, the AHA is awesome.
Now you don't have anything to say. No one's talking.
Made me cry.
All right. Well,
I'm
awesome.
I'm bringing this up so we can make sure to put this in the show notes here.
Yeah.
So that's EndeavorDentTools.com. So here we go. Don Kavanaugh's AHA right there on the front page. So
yes. Well, have you guys tried the pivot tips by Dings?
No.
Yes. And
see,
I've I haven't used them a whole lot. I tried to use them inside some quarter panels, but it's not really set up for that because I kept on losing them.
They are kind of a
mine are
selective
prototypes
use.
though.
Well, you didn't get the blue ones then. The blue ones are the finished product. We had prototypes in black, but now the finished ones are blue.
Okay.
And those are tighter, so they're going to go on your R4s, and they're not going to be or R4 style. So even if you have a ball tip tool like the new pivot tips from Anson, you could put those on there, and they're going to stay on a lot longer. But I'm with you, Daniel. That's kind of a selective use of them, right?
I think it's really a hail tool.
Yeah.
If you will. Do you agree or no?
Yes and no. You're going to have wide open access because you will knock them off. You know, I could see going through a tail light and having open access and not knocking them off.
Yeah.
So, but they do push nice.
Yeah, they do. I like them.
They have a steel core to them.
Yeah, actually, you know where I'm using it is on the B&D pliers.
Oh.
I've been using them on those, and it's perfect for that. Absolutely
I can
perfect.
imagine. Yeah, bent over door lip.
Well, they have this like brick shaped one, and when you've got an edge, and the edge is really kind of maybe an inch pushed in. It works great.
Yeah,
fantastic. Self levels and boom, done.
And you know what? I'm using my B&D edge. I use my edge pliers more than I use my fender pliers. But with the edge pliers, what I'm finding is I got the new bridge system, and with the bridge system, you're able to put it up and pivot the handle out of your way to give you a better line of sight. So it's not so 90 degrees anymore. And wider feet, yeah. So you could spread those feet out. You could pivot your handle now and get it out of your line of sight even more. And it's brilliant. I really commend Mike over at B&D for coming up with that.
Yeah. I've been using the new extension on the fender pliers for working on motorcycle fenders.
Right.
And
you mentioned that
perfect.
last week.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, that's got to make that probably changes the whole game on some of them motorcycle fenders.
Yeah, because honestly, fenders are not as heavy metal. They're pretty.
Yeah,
they're kind of like a car, really. They're not that hard. Most of them. If it's a rear fender, then it's a different deal. Front fenders, they're fine, but they're difficult to mount. They're awkward to work on. This is way easier to do that.
Yeah.
No.
And you can probably get in pretty good with like the fender pliers to get back there a little ways, even, if it's on the top of the fender. So you're reaching back the throat depth of those pliers.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Well, good stuff. So, the other thing, what were the topics? I think we covered a couple of them, right?
Well, we wanted to kind of ask John, where'd you go on your field trip?
Oh, yes, the field trip. Yeah.
So right after I got home from MTE, I had another conference, and this one is the SECA conference. So it's the Collision Industry Electronic Commerce Association. And it's pretty much everybody from insurance companies to rental fleets. And it's basically kind of, you could call it a nerd convention almost. It's all the computer companies and how all the companies communicate and integrate together, along with the technology that is in the modern automobile and the issues that repairers are facing to get into these cars. So this year we happen to be in Charlottesville, Virginia, which is the home of the IIHS facility. So that's the Insurance Institute of Highway Safety. That's the place that does all of the crash testing. So not only did we get to go in there and see just the whole facility, we got to watch them do a crash test live. And I'm on their website right now, and they still haven't published the data on that. So they're probably still crunching the numbers, measuring the car. But let's just say, man, that facility is absolutely insane. We got to watch them take about a 4,000-pound mid-size SUV and just shove it right through the doors of a smaller, not a compact sedan, but I'm not sure what level that particular car is at. But it was crazy. Underneath the bright lights, we got to see how they measure a whole car, what they have to go through to make sure that nobody can dispute the findings is absolutely insane. Mike Toledo would have just died in their photography studio. They have a photography studio that looks like a product studio.
And their podcasting studio. That thing was friggin' off the hook.
I had to send these guys some photos of the podcast studio because Vince and his lovely soundboard, as we've all listened to and laughed at the bench grinder attempts. Yes, so close. Their soundboard was about 7.5 feet wide. I mean, it was insane. So, and everything that these guys do, we got to watch them crash the test. They've got a 5-acre facility outside that's underneath a canopy, and that's where they do a lot of the advanced driver safety tests. So we got to drive a bunch of the cars and test them out. We got to test out BMW's auto park, Mercedes auto parking features. But watching them crash the cars and seeing the differences that have progressed as the automobile has changed was truly astounding. And as soon as I get the okay, I will be posting the video. We recorded that crash test.
So just before the show, we watched them crash a Camry, brand spanking new. It was just like, oh man, how many cars you were telling me how much?
They go through about $5 million a year in cars. Now,
wow.
All of these cars are purchased by insurance companies, get to donate all the money to the IIHS. They buy all the cars from dealerships right there in that Charlottesville, Virginia area. So that facility is extremely loved by dealerships. Wow. Regardless of the results of the crash test. But it's crazy. Like my Grand Cherokee, if my wife is in the passenger side, we take that puppy head on. It's goodbye, honey. It failed the passenger side front end crash test, and it was interesting looking at what cars failed what and how versus what cars passed. So, as well as seats, they must have had 300 or 400 automobile seats in there. They had a dozen child safety seats, and the facility for setting up and testing that. The tests that they were doing in the ADAS systems. And for those of you that aren't sure, the ADAS systems and how it applies to paintless dent repair. So we've all done the Subarus, and we hear them talk about eyesight. What is eyesight? On that, when you look through the windshield of a Subaru and you see those two squares on both sides of the rearview mirror, those are cameras for Subaru's eyesight. So those cameras are what detects objects in front of the car. And the reason for that is like the park sensors, all of those run a version of LiDAR.
Right. LiDAR.
But the LiDAR and the radar systems both are not that accurate to sense movement, like say a pedestrian crossing the street. So Subaru came out with EyeSight that uses cameras in combination with the LiDAR sensor behind the front bumper cover. And that is what detects a vehicle in front of you or a pedestrian walking out and automatically stops the Subaru.
John, let me ask you this. Does that also control, like when you look at the screens and it shows like above the car, you know, like you're backing in a Mercedes and instead of having the rear camera, now you have like a 365. Yeah, or 360 degree.
I believe Mercedes uses the cameras on the mirrors and the one on the trunk and fills in everything on those wide angles. And I think they have a different camera on the front. Now, to my knowledge, Subaru isn't tying that in. The only thing that's tying into is the LiDAR system to prevent crashes.
Okay.
And Subaru's is one of the best that these guys have tested. Now, how that relates to you guys is every single time you unplug that set of cameras, and it doesn't matter even if you remove the cameras, which you should never do. I'll be straight up honest. Nobody in auto reconditioning should be doing that. Collision, yes. Auto reconditioning, no.
What about which cameras?
The cameras on both sides of the mirror.
Oh, the
rear view mirror.
Okay, gotcha.
On the Subaru.
Side mirrors.
It's right on the headliner. No.
Oh, okay. Oh,
the
rear view.
Subarus are right on the rear view mirror, and it's bolted to the right behind the windshield above the rear view mirror. And in order to take down the headliner, you have to unplug that set of cameras.
Okay.
And if you unplug them, technically you should have that car recalibrated.
Really?
And now understand this, calibration of those ADAS systems and the scanning are two completely different things. You should still be doing the pre-scan and post-scans, as Subaru states. But once you unplug it, a dealership should be recalibrating that ADAS system.
And how many dealerships are set up for that?
Not very many. In fact, it's such a low percentage, and it's such a low percentage in the auto body world entirely, that it was the hottest topic at this year's SECA convention, was not just the scanning, but the calibration of these systems. And
it's mainly because dealerships don't have the room.
Don't have the space. Yeah, to do some of these, like Hondas and Subarus can take up to a 40 by 60 space is required to recalibrate those whole systems.
So do you think technology will make that where they won't need as much room, so every dealer would be able to do with minimum room?
I don't know. And that question was posed and asked, and nobody had an answer for it, because after they get done doing the recalibration, they have to you're supposed to physically road test that car and make sure that system works.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you guys ever been to San Francisco to see the dealerships on Van Ness, but they look like a regular office building, and they have elevators for the cars, and the cars are stacked up in these elevators inside these small little buildings that weren't really designed for dealerships. And you're like, every time I drive by, I'm like, I can't believe that's a car dealership. Where do they put all those cars?
And it's probably the same guy that's like 110 years old that moves the cars when they sell one, right? So, hey, Leonard, go get one of the cars. Go get the Camry.
No, you know who it is?
I'm gonna go get the Camry.
You ever watch Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
Yes. Oh, those two guys, huh?
Yeah, those two guys. It's those two guys. Do you speak English?
No doubt.
What country do you think this is? That's my favorite line.
So that was. it was a super hot topic at the IIHS.
And you brought up the IMI to him, right?
I brought up IMI in the middle of the class as we're sitting in, and honestly, not very many people even knew that there was hybrid and all electric car certifications.
Yeah.
that made me really proud of our industry as PDR, because it was like, man,
we're on top of it.
We are moving things forward in which the auto body industry is still got blinders.
Yeah. That's funny. Only one guy knew in the whole building what the IMI was, huh?
Yeah. Yep. He knew who IMI was and what it did.
That goes to show that it's the brotherhood of our industry, that PDR guys, we're connected through social media, and it's really like a brotherhood. Same thing when you go to the Mobile Tech Expo, we're together, we're working together, and I love that about our industry.
Yeah.
But it's going to take one guy. It's going to take one body shop guy to die. Some guy's going to make a mistake
before there's such an industry change, or a passenger in a car that got repaired. We all know about the John Eagle, but just wait till these ADAS systems, somebody doesn't do something right.
Well, and oddly enough, last time I was in Chicago, I was talking to one of my paramedics, which is with the Chicago Fire Department, and he had to sit through a class, hybrid and electric vehicle safety class. And he said that none of them were paying attention, and they're like, yeah. They all failed. They all had to take the test again, and it was like a 3-hour course of them, because they're like, oh, we just listen to our captain, whatever our captain says. Well, the captains were paying attention, but like the foot soldiers that are actually cutting in the cars and stuff, they're not paying attention. And even first responders, when they go, they rely on their captains to tell them, hey, cut here, do this, disengage that battery and stuff like that. It's dangerous stuff that we're dealing with.
It is,
and it's only going to get worse. Yeah, I have to hand my hat off to you, Vince, and watching you do the class, because you do a significant amount of scaring everybody to death, and that makes you pay attention to the class.
Yeah, but you know what? All of my candidates that take it, I'd say 99% of them, when they actually go to power down the car themselves, they have the confidence to do it, which makes me proud, because it's like, okay, they got it. They retain the information and they know how they do it, how to do it. Well, I know every single one of them, when they have to do it with me not around, they're nervous the first time. But once they do it on their own the first time or second time, then it's like, boom, it's a breeze.
Well, you know what? I didn't tell you this, but had a local guy that came up and visited me in my shop, and he asked me all about taking the class, and he goes, you know what, I didn't do really well in school. I'm really kind of nervous about it. I don't think I can do it. And I go, no, trust me, Vince is great. You'll pass. You'll do good. And he came after me and he goes, you know what, you were right. Vince was so good with me. Oh. And so hats off to you, buddy.
Oh, thanks. Yeah,
you're a gentle instructor.
Yeah. Well, the Vegas show was great. However, there was a lot of, shall we say, hungover people while I was teaching it.
I can imagine.
So, and there was a couple in particular that almost did not pass, and a couple of them, one of them resided in Colorado. And I told him, hey, I have a show coming up in Greeley. Please come, and if you feel like you did not retain it, please come. And that goes for everyone. If you've taken this class already and you need a refresher, and I'm in your area, if you've already taken the class and you want to sit in on the seminar again, by all means. This is a safety first thing for me. This is not a monetary thing. I get paid regardless, from Anson, and it has nothing to do. I don't get paid per guy that takes this class or anything like that. There's no commission.
Well, what's your schedule coming up? I know we got Mega Media at Greeley.
Yes, Mega Media at Greeley. By the time this posts, it'll probably be a week later. We have that coming up, and then we have PDR World Cup. So that will be in Branson, Missouri. So if you're in the Missouri tri-state area or wherever, come on out. Or if you're going to it, take the class. And also, we're finalizing the deals of how we're going to do it at MTE Orlando. So we have those 3 that are coming up. Besides that, I'm really, really trying to get out to the East Coast, because I have a ton of guys that want to do it on the East Coast. Again, they missed it the first time around. I got to get up to Daniel's neck of the woods and get that handled as well.
Yeah. So we'll do a Northern California meetup.
Yeah. But guys, if you get 10 guys together, I'll come to you. I don't care where you're at, as long as you're in North America. Canada. Is Mexico considered North America?
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. I'll go down to Mexico.
I think you got to get a little bit.
You got to take me and
Central.
you have to give us a hacienda on the beach.
Yes, I will go to Mexico only if it's on the beach in the Gulf or the Pacific side.
Gulf side's better.
Yeah, I would like to get out to Australia because I have a lot of interest out in Australia as well. And we're talking about making a little spoke out there that will be teaching it as well, because there's a lot of technicians in Australia.
Yeah.
So, well, excellent.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Well, I think that brings us to a wrap. What do you guys think?
I think so. I think we covered a nice variety of stuff.
Yeah.
We appreciate all of you guys listening in, and please support our sponsors. That helps us out and brings us this content to you guys. So please use our codes that we have posted. If you can't find them, just PM us and we'll give you a code so you can get the discounts that you want.
Yeah, or go to PVR Tool Time. And listen, guys, we're not making a killing off of this. We're not making anything off of this. This just goes to support the content that we have to put on the internet.
Pays the bills.
It pays the bills. That's all.
Yeah.
So week after week, we do this for you guys and you guys only.
But if you really, really like us and you want to throw us a couple $1,000s, feel free.
Yes, Venmo me. Yeah. All right, Daniel, what do you guys say?
Okay.
Guys, level up your tools.
Don't do stupid stuff.
And keep it stiff. Thanks for listening.